Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the wedding budget. Why do I call it the elephant in the room? Is because so many of my couples that I have worked with have ignored the fact that they need to have a budget if they're going to have the wedding that they want. Today, I'm going to break all the rules. We're going to talk about the wedding budget, and I'm going to show you how you can realistically set a budget that will suit your wedding. Let's get started. Now, I do have some notes on the left-hand side. I will be looking over to them, so I do apologize. Let's get started. Couples walk into my studio and it is sticker shock. First off, they're going, I want this and I want this and I want explosions and all this, and then I start breaking down what each of the things that are in their priority list that they would want, and they go, it's going to cost us what? It's very easy to spend $100,000 on a wedding if you do not know your budget in advance. So we're going to show you how you can have the most amazing wedding and still have this magical event that you're always looking for. Sarah and Jimmy came in. Sarah had fallen in love with a vineyard. Sorry about the hesitation there. And the thing is, the vineyard did not include, it was $100 a head, and she goes, oh, that is so reasonable, that is easy. And then they said that doesn't include the food, the catering. It doesn't include the decorations. We don't include the cakes. There's an extra cake cutting charge. Yes, there's a cake cutting charge at most venues. So when you start adding that up, suddenly when we put it together on my trusty whiteboard that I always have, suddenly their budget was $10,000 greater. Their bill was $10,000 greater than they had in their budget. Wow. They're going, we don't have $35,000 for our wedding. We only have $20,000. What do we do? So then we step back. This is where I invite my couples to step back and say, let's stop, let's breathe, and let's reassess. And how we reassess, we're going to start with a spreadsheet. And this is what leads me to point number one. Know your budget. Know your figures. Figures don't lie. So if you have written down everything that you need to spend money on between now and your wedding, then you will know exactly where and what to cut out and what to include for it. So first off, we break down their day-to-day expenses. If they've got a mortgage, we take that into account, those sorts of things. And we even down to, what do you spend on coffee each day? Breaking these things down allows them to have a realistic budget of that says, hey, if we cut back on coffees, that's $5 a day. $5 a day, 5 times a week, that's $35. What can we do with that $35? It can multiply over time. These are the things that we're thinking about. The next thing within knowing your figures, if somebody has actually said, maybe mum, maybe dad, has said, hey, we'll donate $5,000 to your wedding budget. And you include that. What you don't include are the people that say, oh, it's so lovely, Sarah and Jimmy are getting married. Maybe I can set aside $2,000 for you. Don't include that. That won't be included in your budget because that is a vague promise. We call them possible bonuses that you may get. And what if Uncle Harry decides to give you that $2,000? You can decide whether you're going to spend it on the wedding, or you can decide you're going to spend it on the honeymoon or something you need for the house. This is where you get to choose. Number 2 point that I think is very, very important is knowing your negotiables and your non-negotiables. I've got a story here that is Jack and Mia. Mia's non-negotiable was she wanted a live band. She didn't care what she had to do, what she had to cut to get her live band. So it was a intimate backyard wedding, okay? She decided she did not need bridal shoes, so she cut them off. She said, hey, the bridal shoes I wanted were $350. I can put that towards the band. Jack said, hey, I don't really like cake. Mia's going, I don't really like cake either. And so they said they got a 3-tier cake. 2 of the tiers were actually going to be foam. They had been decorated. Yes, you got to pay for the decorations, but you're not paying for the cake. And they had a slab cake in the corner with a few cupcakes. Nobody knew, but it looked great in the photos. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if a couple of your layers. Them changing from 3 cakes to 1 cake and 2 foam cakes allowed them to save $675. So far, they've got $675 off the cake. They've got $350 off the shoes, which she allocated $50, so that's $300. So we're already up to $975 on negotiables that they didn't really care about. And the third thing that they did was favors. They had read a lot of information on the internet about favors being a waste of money. And I know as a wedding planner, as a professional, there's at least 25% of favors that are left on the wedding tables. Yes, just don't take them home. And because of this, they chose that they go, we've got 100 guests. And yes, they had 100 guests in their backyard. 100 guests, $5 each favor. That's pretty cheap favors. And if we multiply 100 by 5, that's $500. Suddenly I've got nearly $1,500 towards our band, and we had $2,000 set aside for the band. Suddenly we've got $3,500 for the band that we really wanted. Whereas we don't care about the other things. They're negotiables. They were prepared to compromise with those. And they said, oh, we'll take $100 of it and we'll create a lolly bar. And so that's what they gave people. And people took home kids' lolly bags. And the guests absolutely loved it. The kids loved it too. The guests loved it because they all took home their own private little lolly bag, and what we did was we set all the lollies into different jars and spoons, and they could make up their own mixture. So we made it an event that they got to take home. So we created another experience for the guests to enjoy during the day. Now, number 3 on my list is, and this is the easiest thing you can do, when you've done your budget, when you've worked out all your finances from number 1, knowing your figures, from number 1, you instantaneously divide it by 10 to 15% and say, this is our emergency fund. Take that money out and put it aside in a different bank account. That will only be used if it's needed. So, and the bonus is, if you don't need that money, you could maybe put it on your honeymoon. If you have a house that you're saving up to buy, you can put it towards the house. That money ends up bonus money for you to use at a later time, may or may not on the wedding. The one thing I do say to all my couples when they have this expect the unexpected bonus money at the side, don't spend it on the wedding just because. Nobody's going to notice if there's gold serviettes on the tables. Nobody's going to guess that, expect something, special. I'm trying to think of something lavish, like increasing the layers on the cake, that if you do or don't need them. So can you see what I mean? Don't spend the money because you can. This is where you become savvy with where you're going to spend the money. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to use the budget in a wise way that gives you that special wedding that you're looking for. Whether it's a backyard wedding, whether it's at a venue, it doesn't matter. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now. Bye.